Trust that everybody remembered. Look up, left the door, saw beautiful sky once again. Enjoy it while we've got it, before the rains begin and the cold weather sets in. Chapter 20 of Tehillim. Terrible tragedy in Eretz Yisrael yesterday, when two people, two Arabs, were driven by an accomplice from their settlement into Jerusalem. They came to the central bus stop with automatic rifles and opened fire, killing 7 people on the spot and wounding many more, some of them in critical condition in the hospital. Just like that. They just got out of the car and began shooting. And everybody is screaming in the United Nations, free Palestine. To do what? Okay, chapter 20. Prayer for our people. Ram Natseya Mizbel Adobe. You can read it in English if you prefer. Yan Adonai B'Yisrael Sadev Hashem Elohei Yan Keim Yishach Hashem Mekaydesh Umitziyin Yisadeka Yizgrek Ol Mechaisecha V'Elaso HaYudash HaSela Yiten HaHil V'Avechem V'Chol Atzasecha Yemale V'Ranana B'Shuvasecha B'Shem Elohim Nigel Yemale Adonai Kol Mishali Secha Ata Yadaiti Ki Hishi Adonai Yemikim Shivei Yanehu Mishmei Kodshei B'Gaboras Yesh Yemine Eile V'Recha V'Eile V'Susei V'Anachnu B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Nazker Ema Karo V'Kapalu V'Anachnu Kamu V'Seidan Adonai Yishia Melech Yaneinu V'Yem Kareinu. We will not be intimidated. We are standing strong and stalwart. What is your name? From Jersey. Libby.
Chile. Like Chile.
Chile.
Yes.
Everybody should get tzedakah. Pass around the pushkas. Here's a pushka. The sound of the shofar can be stands for many things. It says in the Talmud that Hashem asks us to make him a king over us. Make me a king, he says. A king can't make himself a king. He needs to have a people. A king without a people is not a king. A king without a wife is not a king also. So people and a wife are like on the same level. There has to be a king over someone. And how? It says in the Talmud, how do we make Hashem king? With the shofar. So what does the shofar stand for? Well, there are many, many things that the shofar stands for. basic. Baal Shem Tov said, the sound of the shofar is like a cry of a child lost in the woods, crying, Tati, Tati, save me. And the previous Rebbe added to that, doesn't matter what you say, the main thing is the cry itself. The cry has to come from deep, deep within ourselves, that we want to be connected to Hashem, we want Hashem to be our king, and he should be connected to us. The sound of the shofar can be symbolized by 3 kinds of notes. The first kind is a simple note. Okay? So we start with the simple note, and we're going to end with a simple note. And in between is the actual shofar sound. So this is called a tekiah. Tekiah. And there's also tekiah. Also. Now, the sages, I mentioned this the other day, lost track through the many, many years of our history. And the tradition was handed down from teacher to student. What was the sound of the shofar supposed to be like? That cry of a child. Was it a moaning cry? Right? So, symbolize that. It's the moaning cry. It's called a shivarim. But from the word shever means broken, a broken sound. Or the other suggestion was that it was a teruah, which is like, sometimes you see a child falls and hurts himself, herself, and they don't realize that they've hurt themselves. And gradually it sinks in that they're in pain. So there's this silent moment before they and then they start to scream, and then they scream. So this sound is this is a moaning sound, and this is a broken sound. And we do it 3 times. Tekiah, shivarim, teruah, tekiah. Tekiah, like that. These are the 3 sounds.
How many of the short blasts are there?
Short ones?
Yeah.
It depends. Some people like to try and count.
Okay.
Depends on the power of the one blowing. Could be 42, something like that. Could be 35. Could be anything. Could be 7 or 8. And then we do it 3 times. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 notes. But we're not sure. So what do we do? The first time through, we combine both of them together. So that's called Tash Rat. Tashrat, all the way through. But then maybe they weren't supposed to be together. That was just to cover our bases. Now we're going to do it one by one. Tekiah, shivarim, tekiah. And then we're going to do circle with tekiah, teruah, tekiah. So I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 sounds altogether. Ten is a very significant number. It's a complete number, a complete structure of everything. The world was created with 10 utterances. God said, let there be 10 times. And the Torah is given with 10 commandments. And there's a structure, which is, we could call this the basic structure of creation, is a tenfold structure. You probably have seen somewhere diagrams of it, how it goes. We'll discuss it all in detail. So 10 is a perfect number, and we do it 3 times. So we have 30 sounds. So when the Baal Takiya, the one who is the shofar blower in Shul, is going to blow the shofar, he's going to blow it 30 times. He's going to do each of these 3 times. And then there are 2 periods in Rosh Hashanah service when we blow shofar. One is immediately after the reading of the Torah. So we have the Torah reading for Rosh Hashanah. We'll have to discuss that some other time too. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to discuss, but it's obviously very, very important, which is the story of Abraham and Yitzchak and the offering, taking Yitzchak on the mountain as an offering, and Hashem saying, no, I didn't mean you should kill him. I meant that you should bring him up to show your willingness, your commitment to serve me no matter what. So that's when the Rebbe would go up for the Aliyah, for his Aliyah, and after that, after the reading of the Haftorah, the reading after you have the Torah reading and the Haftorah reading, and after that would be the shofar, and then we daven the final prayer, the Musaf prayer. In the Musaf prayer, there are 3 specific sections which I'm not going to discuss, but they stand for what goes on in Rosh Hashanah. One is it's a day of remembrances, day of judgment. It's a day of announcing the kingship of Hashem. And a day about the shofar itself. So I want to just take a moment to identify these sounds so you know what you're listening to. What should you be thinking of? Well, if we're talking about Malchiyos, the kingship of Hashem, we should be thinking about accepting upon ourselves Hashem's kingship. We want Hashem to be our king, and we want to be his people. Obviously, we need a merit, but the basic merit is our willingness and our desire to be part of the kingdom. And then there's the judgment, which is called Zifrenis, when Hashem calls to memory all the things that we've done during the year and all the things that have taken place in the world, and all the nations are judged, even angels are judged. That's the Zifrenis. We recall the times when Hashem, it says in the Torah that Hashem judged the people, like in the time of Noach, before the flood. People were judged and found wanting. And then the third time is the shofar race, which is the announcing of the majesty of the king. Like when a king enters, they blow trumpets to announce his coming. And there are 10 verses from the Torah on each of these 3 things. So we have 3 sections about the kingship of Hashem, the day of the judgments of Hashem, and the shofars announcing the greatness of Hashem. And the shofars stand for many things. Like I said, one is the cry of a child to be for salvation. Another is like an army going out to war. They call the troops. What was that from? Who knows? William Tell over Tchaikovsky. Yeah. Anyway, so it stands on the one hand for a shuddering sound, like someone crying out of desperation, or crying to be accepted, crying to do tshuva, to amend for problems that we have, and to transform the negative things into positive things. And an announcement of a triumph at the end of the war. The troops come back victorious. I remember seeing once, unfortunately, it wasn't our troops, when the Rebbe wanted the terrorists to be totally wiped out when they were defeated and they were trapped in Beirut. And the Rebbe said, "Finish them off." And the weak-hearted politicians of our own people wanted to show that they were merciful, so they let them go. And the terrorists came out of Beirut shooting off their guns. They won a big victory. We pay for that to the present day. No people like that in history defeat an enemy nation and then just let them go. Never happened. Never happened. Certainly in our history, when we were defeated, sometimes the Mediterranean turned red with the blood of our people. Okay, so these are the notes. Here's a teruah. Here's a tekiah. Simple note. Hang on. Here is a shivarim. Like a moaning sound. Here is the teruah. Okay, so and then the tekiah. So now the whole lot. So that's the first set. Second set. I brought this from home because it's easy to blow. Okay. Sometimes I was fortunate to be by the Rebbe on many occasions when he blew shofar. And sometimes it just went so smooth. It was wonderful, like the sign of good year coming. Other times, the Rebbe could not get a sound. Try as he might, he could not get the shofar to sound. Everybody was nervous. When we heard that, people started praying and saying Tehillim quietly, praying for a good year. I asked a friend of mine, how come there was somebody else who would blow shofar in the second set when we were in the middle of the Musaf prayer. Musaf is the additional prayer that we daven, the big prayer. We have the silent prayer, and then we have the Musaf, the additional prayer. In the Musaf prayer, we bring 10 verses from the Torah about the kingship of Hashem, 10 verses from the Torah about the judgments of Hashem, and 10 verses from the Torah about the blowing of the shofar, the occasions that the shofar blew, like at Mount Sinai. There was a shofar blowing the whole time at Mount Sinai when Hashem was giving the Torah, getting louder and louder and louder the whole time. Somebody else would blow those in the middle of the praying. You see, as people are praying, suddenly they blow shofar in the middle of the prayer for each of these three sections. So we have two times when we blow shofar. One is the main time. The mitzvah of blowing the shofar is right after Kriyas, after the reading of the Torah. And then in the second prayer, the Musaf, the additional prayer, we blow shofar 3 times in the middle of our praying. And then in the repetition of the Musaf prayer, we blow shofar again 3 times at those places. That was done by someone else. Rabbi Tannenbaum was the Baal Tokiya. He was the principal of the Lubavitch Yeshiva, and he was excellent in blowing the shofar. And I asked a friend of mine, how come when the Rebbe blows shofar, sometimes it goes so smooth, and other times he can't even get a sound? Now the Rebbe's shofaros, by the way, someone just told me 2 days ago that he was in Rabbi Raskin's office. Rabbi Raskin was in charge of the Lubavitch Youth Organization, a devoted chassid, and he initiated many of the Rebbe's ideas. He made them real campaigns. He had 3 shofaros on his desk, which the Rebbe would use, and he also used when he was called upon to blow shofar. And he told me one of them he knew was from the Rebbe Maharash, the 4th Rebbe of Lubavitch. He didn't know who the other 2 were from. One time, he said, when Rabbi Raskin went to blow shofar, like now in Elul, every day we blow shofar, like Rabbi Majeski does. He says, so you might ask yourself, what should I have in mind? What should I be thinking of? What should I be thinking of? Should I be thinking of my sick grandmother? Should I be thinking that I should do well in learning? Should I be thinking that I should be a nicer person? Should I be thinking that I should catch up in a lot of things that I've neglected? Should I be thinking of good things that I could do in the coming year? So Rabbi Raskin went to blow, and the Rebbe sort of came over to him and whispered in his ear, Melech HaMashiach, think about Mashiach. So I asked my friend, how come when the Rebbe blows, sometimes he can't even get a note, and when Rabbi Tannenbaum blows, it always goes so smooth? And he said, because when Rabbi Tannenbaum blows the shofar, the Yetzer Hara doesn't jump into the horn. Okay. Valeria. Yes. Hani Shumsky. That's you, Hani. That's right. You told me, Hani. Alex, as in Alexandra. Naomi, yes, got it. Shiri.
Here.
Shiri. Izzy, yeah. Libi Ubasari, my heart. Libi means my heart. My heart and my flesh yearn for Hashem. Who said that? King David. Libi Ubasari, Ranuel Kochai. Rivka, yes. From Denmark, Rivka from Denmark. And Fegasara. Oh, Fegasara. Where are you from, Fegasara?
From Russia. Russia.
Russia? Yeah. Which city? Maybe a well-known city, Moscow? Okay. All right. Welcome. Raquel. Who's Raquel? Raquel? Yeah. Raquel went up to the 11th class. Abby. This is Abby. Abby, were you here last year one time?
Yeah, I visited for a week.
I didn't forget. I knew you were familiar. Mayan. Yes. Shoshana. Oh, Shoshana. Town. You related to Shay's Town? And Moriah. Okay, thank you very, very much. It's an honor and a privilege to have you all here. Now, we started to speak yesterday about the general question. Give out these sheets again. Remember them to bring them again. Bring these out, please. Moriah, sheets. Leave out. Alex, right?
Yeah.
We have enough for everybody here? So this preface by the Rebbe, every word is very significant. Hasidus in general, what do you mean Hasidus in general? We said that the Torah is given at Mount Sinai. We must make no mistakes about this. This was an event that took place. There were eyewitnesses. There were hundreds of thousands of people there. And the whole world saw that there were cataclysmic things going on. Very unusual natural events were taking place. So everybody knew what was the things were happening. The Medrash tells us that the leaders of the peoples came to the wise men of their and they said, "What's going on? Is there going to be another flood? Is Hashem going to destroy the world?" They said, "No. Hashem is giving the Torah." And it was accompanied by thunder and lightning and cataclysmic changes, which prompted a book. You might want to look into it. You might not want to look into it, by a Jew, a Russian Jew, who was not a religious person, but he gathered up from scientific sources from the past, records from all over the world of these tremendous natural changes that were taking place in the world, and he had his own theories about it. His name is Velikovsky. You can find his books in the library, maybe. Search them out. Velikovsky, Worlds in Collision. He said that the planet Venus came so close to the Earth, it caused all these changes, and it really wasn't happening. It was Torah. Hashem was giving the Torah. But we don't know what the Torah means. We know in the Torah, so we know the Torah was given. That's the first thing that we have to know is a fact. And there's nothing to argue about. When two people come and say, we saw so-and-so do such and such, the witnesses make the fact. They make it a reality. Someone comes in and says, do you know so-and-so and so-and-so? Was anybody there? Did anybody else see it? No, just me. Well, maybe you were having an optical illusion. Maybe you're just dreaming. But when hundreds of thousands of witnesses see the same thing and nobody says it didn't happen, so only thousands of years later came along people in our century, 3,000 years later, so, never happened. They called that in Germany the higher criticism. The higher criticism. The higher criticism was anti-Semitic attack on an intellectual level to debunk the Torah. It's just a different way. You can kill Jews physically, you can kill them spiritually, intellectually. So everybody knew, fact number one, the Torah was given. Bapumbi, in public. It's a public event. It wasn't somebody went off into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights and came back with the documents. But what does it mean? What's it about? Well, together with the giving of the Torah was the giving of the explanation of the Torah, explaining what is it all about? What's in it? The Torah, before Hashem gave the Torah, he offered it to all the nations of the world. Wait a minute. What were the nations of the world? Well, I think that must mean to the guardian angel, the nations to all the world. Were there nations? Was there a world? This is before the world was given. But it says in the Medrash, which is part of the oral Torah, I'm just going to come up, if I hope, in the next minute or two to explain what the oral Torah was. They say that every nation in the world said, Hashem said to them, would you like to receive this Torah? Hashem didn't want jealousy. He didn't want the nations to say, hey, not fair. Why should you reward the Jews and not us? We would have kept the Torah if we had it. So no, you didn't want it. When you were asked if you want the Torah, you said, what's in it? And when I told you what was in it, you said, no thanks. It's not my style. Each nation had its own desires, its own inclinations, and they didn't really. When you offered it to the Jewish people, they said, yes, 100%. By the way, what's in it? That's the big difference between the Jewish people and the rest of the world, that we didn't say what's in it. But after the fact, after we said, yes, we're in, then we asked what's in it. So that's the question now. Now we know the Torah was given. It was given to us. We all said, yes, we want it. But now we have to ask what's in it. So there are 613 commandments. 613 commandments. And these break down into positive commandments, things we have to do, and negative commandments, thou shalt not. So commandment number one is to believe in God. Commandment number two, like the stability of a kingdom depends on the fact that you know you have a king. And second, number two, you have to respect the king. Therefore, you don't curse the king. You don't curse someone else, but by the name of the accursed name of the king. You don't take the king's name in vain. You don't say, we don't have a king. So-and-so, a different country is our king. No, that's a traitor. We are not allowed to have any other king as our God, our creator. We're not allowed. It's the height of ingratitude when you give someone a meal and they say, who made this meal? Tell me who made it. Your host made it. His wife made it. He just brought it to you. What host? I have no host. That's not normal. So if we say that we have some other God, that's what it amounts to. And that's why idol worship, to worship an idol, to worship the sun, to worship the moon, to worship the trees, to worship the water, is such an abomination. Because you're getting your light from Hashem and saying, hey, who is Hashem? Who the heck is this? Medrash gives a parable of a father who's carrying his child, walking with a child. The child can't walk anymore. So the father picks him up and carries him on his shoulders. And they eventually they come to somebody, and the child says to this person, "Did you see my father anywhere?" He said, "What do you mean, did you see my father anywhere?" He puts him down on the ground. Go back where you came from. So we need to have a body of explanation of the Torah. That's called the oral Torah. Important fact. Just like the written Torah from Mount Sinai, which we have in the Torah scrolls, which people will run into burning, when shuls were set on fire, people would run into the shul to save the Torah. They have self-sacrifice to save the Torah. It's a holy, holy document from God. No, and every letter is exact and cannot be changed. Exact, every aspect of, like we did the Aleph, how the Aleph is made, and every detail of the letter is also holy. So the letters are holy, but the explanation of the letters is also holy. They're given together, like a king and a queen, they come together. The written Torah, the oral Torah, can't have, horse and carriage, heart, love and marriage, love and marriage. Go together like a horse and carriage. Da, da, da. They go together. You can't have one without the other. The written Torah without the oral Torah is incomprehensible. You don't know what it means. And if you take the oral Torah, some people do this because they love learning. It's so stimulating. It's so fascinating. Who needs God? Just let me learn the Torah. It's great. No, that's a road to disaster. That will lead to idolatry. So we have to have both, written Torah and the oral Torah. And like we said in the first class, everything has a body and a soul. So you might say, well, the oral Torah is the soul of the Torah. Yeah, you're right. But the oral Torah also has a soul. We'll come back to this tomorrow. Briefly, just to end up on a positive note, what is the soul of the oral Torah? Is the life that's in it. And just like the Jewish people are made of so many different kinds of people, and 12 tribes, each one of them from when we left Egypt was 50 to 100,000 strong, 100,000 people. It's a whole city. Each of the 12 tribes, can you imagine going to the desert with 12 tribes? The Jewish camp was 12 miles wide. 12 miles wide. It wasn't like in the pictures, one thin line of a few hundred people wending their way towards the Red Sea. It's 12 miles wide. So we have to have this whole, just every single tribe has an inner spirit and meaning. The Torah, the oral Torah also has an inner life to it. And that inner life is like the soul within the body. Without that inner life, we have a body without a soul. So we have the written Torah, the oral Torah, which is a document without meaning. We can't decipher it. We don't even know where one sentence begins and another one ends. It's just letters. And these letters, there could come a time when a prophet will be acknowledged, will say, we're reading the Torah all wrong. And we're not negating what it is, but here's on a different level where the sentences read differently. And if he's acknowledged by all the rabbis, by all the scholars, that he's right, then he's right. Then he's right, then they're right. That's all right. So we need to have the oral Torah, which is like an inner look, understanding of the Torah. And then we need to have the soul, the life that's in the Torah, in the oral Torah. What is that? That's called the godliness, the life, the godliness in the Torah. Where do you find it? That's Hasidus. Why is it that earlier generations didn't have Hasidus? Something from last 300-400 years. Well, there were always individuals in every generation who were the leaders for the generation. Like 2,000 years ago, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who taught the inner aspect, the soul of the Torah, the Hasidus, but it wasn't spread. He only taught it to a few very, very special people, and they taught it to their very few special people, and so it went. And people kept the Torah with a complete devotion because they were very close to the time when the Torah had been given, and it made such an impression on everybody that they didn't have questions about the validity of what they. But in recent times, the last hundreds of years, the persecutions that the Jewish people have gone through, the persecutions and the Inquisition and the Holocausts and the pogroms, and what happened in Russia for 70 years when nobody was even allowed to say a Jewish word, caused people to lose touch with the immediacy and the holiness of the giving of the Torah. So Hasidus had to kick in to bring Jewish people back to the spirit that the Torah, and to bring out in them the inner life that they have, and connect it with the inner life that's in the Torah. That's Hasidus in general. We'll come back tomorrow. Thank you very much. Another lesson of the class is that something to start working on if you're not up to it yet. Say a blessing, say blessings on, before we enjoy anything in the world, we have to thank God. And after we have enjoyed it, we thank Him again. We say thank you very much. Now, Moriah brought me this cup of milk. Thank you very much, Moriah. Wouldn't it be foolish if I said this cup of milk just came by itself? That's idolatry. That's what idol worship is. Oh, the world just evolved by itself. I had a student who said once, he's studying anthropology. His teacher says the world is gazillions of years old. I said, just ask him, where did it start? And he'll answer you. Then ask him, where did that start? And then don't let him up. I'll come out and play the rest of the story tomorrow. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Boy, the Pashas Rabbos Chasriman, Al Kel Moshe Brasav Yisrael, Let Mishkol HaBaruch, Chei HaElamim. Keep these sheets. I'm going to put them away in a hiding place, which hopefully nobody is going to find. Don't tell. So when Rabbi Majeski blows, he'll be able to identify the notes as he blows them.